Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on my wife's 2011 Mercedes-Benz GL350. It's got the OM642 engine, the V6 Diesel. That's a lot to say in one sentence. Very popular OM642 engine. It's in a lot of vehicles. Has a lot of issues, but overall the reliability is good, they say. Just spoke to a guy with 1.2 million kilometers on his Sprinter. So if you guys follow this channel, basically I installed an oil catch can a few weeks ago, and I was hoping to kind of chase this issue, which is oil consumption. These engines are particularly bad with it. Lots of diesels are. I suspected my PCV valve was malfunctioning, so my solution was to install a catch can, and the catch can does work. It does catch some oil, not a lot of oil. More condensation and some other crap that gets caught up in there, which is good. I don't want that going in the intake either. But now I'm noticing I'm getting quite a bit of oil consumption. My wife just used about 2 liters of oil on about half a tank. Well, almost a full tank, which is not acceptable. So every 800 kilometers or so, I gotta add 2 liters. Like it's no good. So basically I'm taking the catch can out, I'm changing the oil separator / PCV valve / crankcase ventilation valve, and I'm kind of starting from the beginning. I want to confirm my PCV valve works. If that works, I want to make sure the turbo is not leaking oil, like the seals. And then finally, hopefully, the rings aren't gone in the motor, because that would be bad. So I do have an aftermarket warranty on this vehicle. So I'm getting rid of the catch can, temporary, putting this in, and trying to get to the bottom of this oil consumption, because we do like the vehicle and we want to keep it. So we got to figure it out. It's going to be a voiceover. It's going to be kind of a mix with my air filter video, because you do have to take the Y pipe off and the air filter to get it out. So I kind of recorded 2 videos, but this video is on the positive crankcase ventilation separator. And the tools you'll need are pretty straightforward. You do need a reverse Torx, E-Torx socket set. I'll put a link in the description. It would not hurt if you're going to plan on doing your own work. I still have to get mine, but get a combo wrench set for E-Torx. Ratcheting preferably. 8mm ratcheting E-Torx will help you a lot. The PCV valve is way in the back of the engine, and it's a peckerhead to get at. I managed to make it work with just a regular old 8mm combo wrench, but it's not the right tool. You do want the reverse Torx, E-Torx. So I'll quit rambling and I'll get into it. Like I said, it's a voiceover. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll definitely get to them. All right, enjoy. All right, moving quickly, guys. We got 4 bolts holding this strut tower on. You got to remove these each time you want to take the intake out, or the Y pipe. There's a little shroud here on the passenger side needs to be removed. Pull that out of the way and you can get the last bolt out of there. And then once you got all 4 bolts removed, you can just go ahead and give that strut tower assembly a little pop up. It comes right out. Then you got a 7mm 3 hose clamps holding the Y pipe on, 1 on each side and then 1 at the turbo inlet. Okay, loosen those off, and then you more or less just give this thing a little bit of a wiggle. After you've got the 3 hose clamps nice and loose, there's 2 mass airflow sensors to unplug. They're kind of tricky. You got to pinch and pull, and then what I do is I take a little small flathead screwdriver, you insert it in the top, wiggle it, and then you can pull the connector right off of the Y pipe there. Just remember you do have 2 of these, 1 on each side, okay? Now in the middle of the Y pipe there's actually a positive crankcase ventilation piping, which is what we're going to be changing today. So it's a little plumbing right at the middle there. I'm just freeing up the Y pipe here, so then you just give a little pull, but don't forget to disconnect this PCV valve right there. Alrighty? Alright, that's your Y pipe removed. And now we're getting ready to remove the passenger side air filter housing, secured by 1 bolt. And there's kind of a little peg on the bottom that you gotta pull the filter housing up. You may need to remove the back firewall shield. You can see right behind the filter there, I've already got mine pulled off, but it's just a couple of bolts holding it on. And you just lift that filter housing right out of there. Alright, now we got these two 8mm bolts that hold these connectors onto the block. You need to free those up so that you can pull that whole thing out of the way. And then here's the PCV valve. This one's removed, but you can see how there's two bolts holding it on the backside. They're really tricky to get at. Now what I had to do actually was spray the PCV valve down with penetrate. So I could not get it off. I took the two bolts out. I tried wiggling it best I could. I couldn't get it, so I let it sit overnight with the spray. And then I just took this dull impact wrench or screwdriver and just gave it a couple light taps, and I was able to free up the oil separator. Yeah, just be persistent. It will come out. Just be gentle. And here's a shot of the old, which was original 2010 manufacture date. Just worn right out. Highly recommend you change these. And here's my new sitting next to it. You can see the difference in the little diaphragm there. It's quite a bit larger. It's way more supple. Reinstalling it, I just put a bit of engine oil on the where it slides into the crankcase. And it actually went in very easy for me. I just wiggled it back and forth, and I kind of pulled on it. And just be persistent. Get it. Make sure you try and get it lined up. You can reference where those two bolts came out, and they're very tricky to get at. Hold on to them because you will drop them. And then reinstalling the little electrical post there, 2 8mm, pretty straightforward. Might as well change your air filters, reinsert, make sure you catch that bottom peg, and then that lines up, and then you can put your single bolt back in. Alright, so overall the procedure was pretty easy. I would say just a couple hours once you know what you're doing. And there's another shot of the bolt holes. Last step is just to put your ductwork back together. Alright guys, so that's it for the video. I didn't bother recording the reverse procedure for putting the intercooler and Y pipe back together. If you really do want to see how to put it back together, I'll put a link in the description for the serpentine belt and the oil filter housing video, because I go really in detail on how to kind of get the clips back together and stuff like that. It is pretty straightforward. Hopefully my voiceover is good enough for you to kind of get you an idea what you need to do. You know, basically every time you work on these vehicles, you're going to have to take that crap apart. So it's best that you just kind of do it and learn, figure out your best way to do it. I will say, if you're putting all the dual air filters back together with the Y pipe, get yourself like whatever it was, 7mm to get those clamps, and get an impact gun. I know you should never use an impact gun really on vehicles, but like in the engine bay, small stuff. But it really helps you because you can pinch the air filter and the air duct together, and then just kind of send it home a little bit. Don't over torque it because you will break those, especially the Y pipe going into the turbocharger inlet. You know, I just use it to kind of snug it up because, you know, you can push in on it and then just hit it a couple times, and it really tightens things up. You got to make sure the Y pipe's pushed flush against the turbocharger and the intercooler pipe is pushed and it clicks in. Okay, if you don't, you will develop a leak, and it looks just like the oil cooler leak too. So you don't want to mess up. All right, if you have any questions, guys, leave them below. If you own this vehicle, OM642 Diesel, you definitely want to subscribe. We plan on keeping this vehicle, and I'm going to be, by the looks of things, going to Mercedes quite a bit. I got a free hat today, picking up the oil separator. So hopefully they don't see me a lot. I'd like to just get my parts aftermarket and save a buck, but we'll see how she goes. Yeah, so definitely keep track of the channel. Subscribe. And you can follow along, and I'm chasing this oil consumption thing, and we're gonna get through it. It's just gonna take a little while. So check back in a few weeks here, and we'll have an update video. All right, thanks, and have a good one.